So Russia is expanding its military presence near Finland's border, likely in response to Finland's NATO membership. Satellite imagery shows new tents, buildings, and reactivated airfields near Finland's border in Russia. Finland has also been fortifying its border since the war in Ukraine began. However, Finland doesn't see Russia as an immediate threat, as Russia's focus remains on Ukraine. That being said, I anticipate a larger Russian buildup within the next 5 years, which could threaten the Finns. But given Russia's failures in Ukraine, Finland would be able to effectively defend itself even if they didn't have the support of NATO, which they would. But outside of NATO, Finland benefits from the fact that they only recently joined, so they've developed a military capability to counter Russia independent of the need for NATO's umbrella. Although Russia's larger population and military resources pose a challenge, Finland's strengths are rooted in its total defense doctrine and their historical experience in Arctic-style fighting. This means, in a defense posture, they likely will dominate Russia. So we can actually compare the current defenses of Finland in preparation of a Russian invasion to what Ukraine was dealing with. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't a hit on Ukraine in any way, but current day Finland and pre-2022 Ukraine are far different situations for Russia. Finland has highly integrated military, civilian, economic, and digital resources, making it into a cohesive system and a far harder target than Ukraine in 2022. Universal conscription has trained nearly 1 million reservists from a 5.5 million population, compared to Ukraine's smaller, less systematic reserve force before their war. Finnish reservists undergo regular refresher training, ensuring combat readiness, while Ukraine relied heavily on rapid volunteer mobilizations during their post-invasion. Finland's cities feature underground shelters for civilians, unlike Ukraine's less developed urban defenses in 2022. Stockpiles of food, fuel, weapons, and ammunition in Finland are designed for prolonged warfare, whereas Ukraine was heavily dependent on foreign aid for supplies. Finland maintains a decentralized command structure, which gives them decision autonomy at the front lines while being backed by a robust common operating picture system, thus ensuring fighting continues even under partial occupation or a cutoff in communication, whereas early on, Ukraine faced coordination challenges. However, they have since rectified those. Finland's 1,300-kilometer border with Russia is a maneuver nightmare for the Russians, with dense forests, lakes, swamps, and sparse roads creating choke points. It's far more restrictive than Ukraine's open plains, which allowed Russia to move freely during their mechanized advances in 2022. Finland's troops excel in Arctic warfare by using skis and all-terrain vehicles, which gives Finland a mobility edge that Ukraine lacked early on. Finland has an environmental and geographical edge that Ukraine simply did not. And it was this very mastery of terrain that Finland exploited in the Winter War, where Finland inflicted 126,000 casualties on the Soviets while only losing 26,000 Finnish soldiers. Meanwhile, Russia itself continues to find it difficult to manage the far less extreme terrain of Ukraine. Tactically, Finland's asymmetric warfare is some of the best in Europe for their geography, which is a major advantage compared to Ukraine's pre-war capabilities. Finland uses small, agile units employing tactics where the focus is on using terrain to quietly move and encircle enemies in tight geographical corridors, then disabling mechanized forces to create kill boxes. Finland's anti-armor teams, equipped with javelins and NLAWs, benefit from exceptional training and combined arms integration. They have rapidly adopted and stockpiled Western weapons, so Russia would see catastrophic armor losses early on. Finland possesses one of the largest artillery arsenals in Europe, including 700 howitzers, 700 heavy mortars, and 100 multiple rocket launchers. They also have fixed coastal artillery positions with 130mm guns along the Gulf of Finland, and this poses a problem for Russia's already inept navy. Finland's artillery would target Russian supply lines with greater accuracy than what Ukraine initially experienced with their Soviet-era artillery in the early stages of their war. Urban defenses in the cities are pre-planned in Finland, with civilians trained to arm and resist immediately, which contrasts what Ukraine had to deal with when they improvised urban battles in Kyiv and Mariupol. In the Baltic Sea, Finland's navy operates a mix of fast attack craft, mine warfare vessels, and patrol boats. Finland is also introducing 4 state-of-the-art corvettes soon. They also field missile boats equipped with anti-ship missiles and modern sensors. While Finland's navy is small compared to larger global powers, its fleet is highly specialized for its region, and they are well trained. Meanwhile, Russia has struggled with Ukraine from a naval standpoint, and Ukraine doesn't even have a navy. Besides, Russia doesn't have a real strong history of naval capabilities anyways. Finland's current technological edge is more advanced than Ukraine's pre-2022 arsenal. Its NASAM air defenses can counter Russian missiles and drones, while Ukraine relied on older Soviet-era systems before the West provided them with aid. Finland's cybersecurity and electronic warfare capabilities, hardened against hybrid threats, surpass Ukraine's initial vulnerabilities to Russian cyber attacks. Incoming F-35 stealth aircraft, which are arriving this year, will bolster Finland's already capable MiG-18 fleet. Compare that to Ukraine's reliance on aging MiG-29s before Western aircraft were introduced, and there's a good chance Finland gains air superiority over Russia in Finnish territory. In short, while Russia may posture along Finland's border in response to NATO membership, any attempt to escalate beyond intimidation would be met with brutally effective Finnish defenses. Finland is not Ukraine in 2022. Its military is already modernized and designed specifically to exploit its harsh terrain and maneuver choke points. From deep national stockpiles to decentralized command and elite asymmetric warfare units, Finland has spent decades preparing for exactly this kind of fight. Should Russia test that resolve, it won't find a soft target, it will just find yet another Russian graveyard.